Brenda is his sister. So Barbara is his sister. Sorry, I'm thinking.
Is she? Is she really? Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Queenie. For those who don't know me, reviewing Love is Blind Season 4, The Reunion. Before I get into it, please make sure to like this video, subscribe and hit the bell, and leave a comment down below. Another person whose ass I need to get into is Netflix. I was telling y'all Netflix is gonna crash. Y'all was telling me, no, it's not, girl, it's Netflix. Yeah, but have you seen the amount of pull Season 4 has had? It has been insane. And we had to sit there for an hour and a half. And most of our computers still weren't working. My computer wasn't working. My friend's Netflix wasn't working. My other friend's Netflix wasn't working. And we were all in the same room. So we had to watch somebody's Twitch stream. Shout out to you, Twitch streamer. You saved our lives. Okay, so let's get into this freaking review because I have thoughts. Most of which some of you guys might not agree with, but it is what it is. So they start with Brett and Tiffany and the way that Marshall was a pivotal component of their relationship. Basically, Marshall actually had a connection with Tiffany first.
I just came to the realization that we're just too far apart in ages. So I went to Brett and was just like telling Brett, Tiffany's a wonderful woman. I felt like Tiffany was the right person for Brett and Brett was the right person for Tiffany.
So due to their age difference, I guess it was Marshall who thought that they wouldn't work out, or Tiffany, I don't know. It was Marshall talking, so it was from the perspective of Marshall. But basically he reported to Brett saying, hey, this is your person, like you should really pursue that. Said the same thing to Tiffany, bish bash bosh, and now they're together, you know? In an alternate universe, if it was Tiffany and Marshall together. I know Marshall is y'all's fave. Not mine. I would be upset. I'd be very upset. But at the end of the day, that's not what happened. Brett and Tiffany are together. Tiffany's living in Portland. She's living her best life. She says things are just peachy keen, honey. I love that for my good sis. They also say that moving to Portland, that whole debacle of living in Portland, living in Seattle, was actually a situation that they were going through during filming, but filming didn't focus on that. And I wish that they did, because it seems like with Kwame and Chelsea, moving wasn't as big as an issue as it was shown. However, for Tiffany and Brett, it was a bigger issue than what it was shown. So I'm like, can y'all be a little bit more accurate? We had enough to pick on Chelsea and Kwame about. We didn't need that extra component. Trust me, we would have found stuff to talk about. So they have this stupid fake conversation between Micah and Chelsea talking about the Kwame flirting, right? This is before they had seen the actual footage of what happened. In the video itself, I don't think Micah apologized. I don't think Micah apologized simply for the fact that at this point, we know that an apology that says, I'm sorry if, isn't a true apology. Because there's no ifs. I'm telling you how I feel. I'm validated in those feelings. And if you're not going to apologize for that, then I'm not accepting the apology. Point blank, end the period. However, when they were on stage, she did accept her faults. I believe that she did. And she did take full responsibility. She did apologize on stage. So anyways, let's get into it. Kwame also decided to apologize on stage. I'm sure he's done it in person too, privately. But he apologized on stage to Chelsea and her family for his actions in the him and Micah storyline.
First and foremost, that was really hard for me to watch, right? It was really hard looking back at that and being there with my wife as well. I'm sorry I let my ego get the best of me in that moment. I'll never do that again, you know? And then the second layer is I need to say sorry to Chelsea's family. They all need to know how much I care and love my wife, you know? And she means the world to me, you know? And I think a third layer is for all the people who are out there who believe in us.
I found it so funny how this guy kept saying, my wife, my wife, my wife. Here's why. Do y'all know this man? Yeah, so he is from BuzzFeed originally, then transferred over to Try Guys, and his whole MO was my wife, my wife, my wife. Then he was exposed for cheating with a coworker. Not even a coworker, an employee, honey, an employee. So I'm like, whenever somebody's like, my wife, my wife, my wife, look at me and my wife, look at me and my wife, I always think, what are you trying to prove? I don't know. It's a little bit sketchy if you ask me, but they say that they're living happily ever after. As I said in the last video, they have brought the mom into the fold. The mom apparently welcomed Chelsea in with open arms. And that's what I was saying. I was like, I'm sorry, I don't think it's that big of a deal, especially if the siblings are really his siblings. Yes, they are, but I like a good conspiracy. There's already a Caucasian daughter-in-law in the family. Another one, is it that big of a deal? I would think the pushback, a lot of it would come from the first one. But at this point, it's kind of like, okay, business as usual. I don't know. This whole storyline just didn't make sense to me. I felt like it was Kwame making excuses or making up a storyline for relevance. It worked. But yeah, end of the day, everybody is happy family. Kwame also said that the conversations before the actual breakup between him and Micah were starting to die down, and he had written a breakup speech in his little notebook. However, Micah beat him to the punch. So he didn't get to say what he wanted to say, and he felt like he needed closure, and that's why he kept speaking to Micah post the pods. If y'all want to believe that, that's your business, but me personally, I feel like there was still something there, and he was looking for a way in, but Micah wasn't giving it to him, so whatever. Now, the Zach, Bliss, and Irina story gets kind of awkward, okay? So, Irina is convinced that she came in here for love. She had the best intentions. She wanted marriage, A, B, C, and D. Zach literally point blank calls her out as being a clout chaser, was here for fame, and that their connection was not real from her side.
Sorry, just need a minute. I generally think that me and Zach weren't right for each other. And I think that when I came into this experience, I felt like I was in a place to find, like I was ready to meet somebody that I want to spend the rest of my life with.
If we're real, you went on this show to get famous. You will become an amazing person one day. I believe that. And I forgive you for what happened. And I hope the world does too.
I think that her business has been taking a lot of hits ratings wise. And this is her trying to do damage control. Because if at the end of the day, she can portray herself as coming with the best intentions, it's just things didn't pan out for her, then they'd be like, oh, okay, well, maybe, but no, girl. Even if what you did with Zach wasn't shown, we saw what you did in the women's lounge. So it's like, come on, like this whole thing does not make any sense. She was saying in the interview that I reviewed yesterday that she doesn't have this image of what a perfect partner should look like physical attraction isn't a big thing for her, but it was Zach's mannerisms and his behavior, his demeanor that turned her off. Bull crap. I'm so sorry. Mike, who's Mike? Paul and Zach are two peas in a pod. If one person's demeanor was annoying you, so should the other. Okay? Let's be for real. Like, oh my gosh. So anyway, speaking of how Irina was in the women's lounge, Micah was brought into the conversation as well. And this is where the audience is annoyed with Vanessa, partially. There's some other parts too we're going to get to. They feel like Vanessa didn't go in hard enough on Micah. Now, here's my thing. Once somebody has taken ownership of their behavior, what else can you say after that? Let's be honest. I know a lot of people don't like Micah. That's your prerogative. I didn't like her for the majority. And now I kind of more pity her. I don't like her either, but I feel sad for her, you know? Once somebody has said, this has been my behavior, it is despicable, I take that and I'm going to work on myself. What more could you tell a person? I feel like the reason why there was more energy directed at Irina was because she kept on trying to explain her way out of the situation. But you guys didn't see what happened behind whatever. And other people were doing it. Like, you have to keep questioning the person who's trying to evade the answers. Like, let's put it in context, guys. Honestly, let's be for real, okay? One of those people who was trying to evade questioning for me was Paul. 1000% was Paul. I feel like because Micah was portrayed as the bigger villain on the show, there were things about Paul that went under the radar. And in my reviews, I was saying to y'all, I don't know, guys, Paul is sly. Paul is sly. And the way that the season ended confirmed that for me.
The only thing both of us can do is own up to it and apologize and hope to do better. I didn't want to spend the rest of our life, if he was to say yes, wondering if he did it not to embarrass me.
He couldn't see marrying you because he couldn't see you as a mom. When you watched that, how'd that make you feel?
Why did I not hear about it until Friday? I've never heard that from you. You've never brought that up to me.
We were done dating like 12 months ago.
This man, Paul, said that it's not crossing a boundary. And I guess he said that him and Micah had this conversation, so they're in agreement with that. But he felt like the way that he was behaving with Irina was okay because there wasn't any physical boundaries crossed. So they didn't kiss, they didn't have sex, it's not cheating. And he also says that's why he didn't feel a way about Micah flirting with Kwame, because there wasn't kissing, there wasn't sex, it's not cheating. Okay, your rules are your rules. That if your relationship says these are the rules, who am I to then come and tell you your rules are wrong? You know what I mean? Unless it impedes on other people's well-being and stuff like that. So then they get to this whole nurturing thing. And Micah confirms that they actually dated after the show. So I'm so sorry. Paul, knowing what he knew about Micah, that she's not nurturing enough, of obviously her behavior in the pods and even after with Irina was unsettling to him. And he even said that he couldn't see himself marrying her, not now, not 10 years from now, probably never. You're then still going to pursue a relationship with that woman, knowing how much she felt for you? I do think that at the time where Irina was in the story, that Micah's feelings were still developing for Paul. But I think that they really grew throughout the process. Not enough for marriage. Not enough for marriage. I don't think either of these two were in love enough to be married. But I think that they did grow. So I'm like, why would you then pursue a relationship with somebody knowing you don't see a full future with them? And then even what he said about her lacking these nurturing and motherly characteristics was so painful, because she didn't even have to tell us in the reunion that she talked a lot about wanting a family and wanting to be a mother. You heard it even in her vows. She wanted to marry into a family so that she can finally have a full family unit, because one, she's an only child, and two, she came from a broken home. Obviously, that's something that's very important to her. So for him to say that, I'm sorry, you guys, that was so vile. That was so vile. And then continue a relation. Oh, hell no. So I know that Zach is y'all's favorite. But I'm sorry. Zach was pissing me off. Zach was pissing me off, okay? He wanted to come be Captain Save-A-Paul and rip into Micah for whatever reason. And he thought that Micah was out for blood. I don't even think she was. I don't think she was out for blood at all. I think the woman was blindsided. She didn't even see the comments that Paul had said until we all saw it in real time. That is painful. And so she's wondering, so like why did you want to continue with me? And Zach is making it seem like Micah is trying to paint him as a bad guy, but I don't think she was. He also said he had it on good authority that Micah was never even interested in marrying Paul.
It just makes me really angry, because it looks like you're here for blood. And it just seems like he's apologizing over here. He's taking accountability for his actions. Sounds like she never was talking about getting married to Paul. Just to like come out here and try to make Paul look like this really bad guy that he's not is...
I have no intention of making
You
Paul look
never
bad.
defended him.
The things that I've heard that really hurt and upset me, I just found out. I'm not here to attack him.
We learned inadvertently because of Vanessa's line of questioning. I'm sorry. Y'all wanted Vanessa to step it up in the nosy department, and I feel like she did. A little bit too nosy when it came to asking about the babies. We're going to talk about that at the end. But I felt like she was asking the right questions, because she was saying, no. Let's name names. Let's dive into that, because we're not just going to bypass your sugarcoating questions. I mean, your sugarcoating answers to my questions are not going to fly. She did that with a lot of people. I loved it. But anyways, we learned that it's Irina, whatever. who was the one saying that Micah isn't serious about Paul. And like I said, I think at that time, that was true. I do think that at that time, she didn't have that love for Paul that she eventually grew into having. 1000%. But I'm looking at Zach and I'm like, if you're going to hold this platform of saying, I'm here to call people out and hold people responsible and make sure they take accountability for their actions, let's do that across the board. I know Paul is your homeboy, but you got to hold him accountable too. There were things that he was doing and saying that did not align with how he was portraying himself at the end of the wedding, like saying like, oh, I'm just so ready. It's Micah. Who's the problem? Absolutely not. He was never fully in love with her. And you could tell that in the way that he would answer Zach's questions about love and the way that he, just the way that he acted. I don't know, guys, like I told y'all, he wasn't saying a lot, but when he did speak, it was just alarm bells for me in my mind. And it's easy to look at Micah because she's the more blatant villain in the story. But Paul has had his pitfalls too. They also talk about Shelby and 1000% Micah needs better friends. I definitely think Micah needs better friends. Regardless of your people having bad delivery, I think that the company you keep does affect the person that you are. And it looks like Micah has a lot of potential, but everybody around her just doesn't have her best interest at heart. And so I'm like, yeah, your friends can deliver a harsh message in a nicer way and take your feelings into account. And so maybe that'll also help you deliver tough conversations to other people in a better package so that it's received better. You can be honest with me, but the way in which you're honest with me really determines the kind of person that you are. So yeah, like I said in the reviews, Shelby, can't stand her, but her sentiments I agreed with. On to Jackie. This is where people were also upset with Vanessa. Yo, the Discord was killing me. And shout out to everybody in the Discord who stayed for as long as we did. I was close to shutting it down, but we found a stream, y'all. We found a stream. People were calling her a coward for not showing up, but I think honestly it was a safety risk for both Netflix and for Jackie. People were sending her death threats, and you know, the internet, y'all, you can't trust these people. If somebody's threatening death on you, let's just play it safe. That's number one. Number two, I think that because of the things that Jackie was saying online, they didn't know how much they could filter her. So it's best that we put her in a controlled environment. We can choose what parts we want to include in the show, what parts we don't want to include in the show, and be safe that way, because I don't know what that girl could have said. And if a transphobic slur was said and she repeated that on the show, it's not going to be a good look for Netflix. But anyways, Vanessa could have done a better line of questioning, 1000%. She could have dug a little bit deeper. She could have put her ass to the fire, Jackie's ass to the fire. But I think that Jackie would have closed the laptop. I think she would have. But anyways, the big question that we've been asking was, what is this transphobic slur that Jackie's talking about? She didn't mention what it was, but she did say something to the effect was said. Marshall confirmed. And I'm like, Marshall, you probably shouldn't have done that.
I felt like it was my turn to make a jab. And so I said, I mean, you got a strong jawline. I mean, like, you could have been a man for all I know. And it was wrong. I know. And I knew it was wrong because she took very clear offense to it. I thought that it was a safe space because she's coming at me, calling me out of my own sexual preference.
She was saying those things to your face.
Me and my friends were sitting in the living room thinking like, what slur could he possibly have said? It's probably a good thing that nothing came to mind. But I'm like, what slur could he have possibly said to this woman? Like, I don't understand. But the fact that he said, you could have been a man and something, I'm just like, that's not cute. That's not cute. I know everybody loves Marshall. I know y'all love Marshall. I know you do. But that was, that didn't sit well with me personally. It is interesting how both of them, when put in a corner, tend to say things that are extremely below the belt. They both need help with that. They both need help with that. She says more was said behind the cameras. Honestly, now that Marshall confirmed that what he said was true, I can believe it. I can believe it. We saw Jackie on screen, so I'm sure there was more off screen, 1000%. They both need to take some time and heal, figure out the reasons why they think it's necessary to throw jabs at people when you're upset. Like, that's how you know the love really wasn't there. The love was not real. And Marsha was annoying me talking about, I still would have went down the altar. I still would have said yes, and thought, why? If you're thinking these things about this woman, why would you say that? And he's like, well, she obviously felt the same way about me because of the texts that were exposed. Two things can be true. The things that she could say, the things that she did say, could be absolutely vile, disgusting, and inexcusable. But what you said was also inexcusable. They ended the show with showing the couples on vacation. I'll just put the pictures in here or whatever. They also went to the apartments. I'm not going to lie to you. You know, Qualix and Chelsea are my least favorite couple, but their apartment? You said that's in Seattle? What's the rent like over there? Because I might need to move. I've been to Seattle. It's very depressing. It's a lot like Vancouver. But wow. Yeah, I liked it. I did. They also brought Bartiz on screen. Please never do that again. Okay. However, he was there with his son. So this does confirm. So some people were still unsure if that's actually his kid. It is his child. And he was just saying, oh, who's next? Vanessa, we need to talk about why it's inappropriate to talk about women's wombs. Okay. I understand the excitement of when people get married, you think the next thing is children. One, not everybody wants to have a child. Number two, people's sex life is not our business until they bring us into it. And none of these people brought you into their business, okay? Tiffany did a little bit with the joke that she did at the wedding. You could have stayed there and left it there, okay? Number three, a woman's fertility is such a touchy subject. You don't know what somebody's womb is doing. You don't know if they have a volatile womb. You don't know if they have cysts and fibroids, or maybe they're just infertile, or maybe they had to get a hysterectomy earlier in life, or like, you literally don't know. Maybe they have been trying and haven't been successful. Maybe they have been conceiving and miscarrying. Maybe they had a stillbirth. You don't know. So how about we just don't enter women's wombs at all? At all. We learned this from time. When grandparents say, when am I getting a grandbaby? Child, I don't know. Whenever the Lord says so. So you go talk to the Lord and maybe he'll give you an answer. Let's not, Vanessa, no. No, Vanessa. And that's one thing that I don't like about her. And the other thing that I don't like is how she makes everything personal. Now, this is kind of hypocritical because even in my reviews, I do make things about myself like I'm literally doing right now. But I'm just like, this is not about you. You have a job to do. Focus on the job. Focus on the job. Okay. Lastly, I want to rip into Marshall just a little bit more because the man said everybody should leave the drama alone. Let's not talk about it. Let everybody move on and live their lives. I do agree that social media does tend to become a cesspool of negativity, especially for the people who are in the comments saying vile things toward these people, and more so in the DMs saying things to these people, and even more so doxing these people online. Those are extremes that we don't need to get to. However, without the fan base of Love is Blind or any of these shows, none of these people would have a platform coming out of the show. The reason why there's so much popularity, there's so much notoriety, is because we, the people, have opinions and we talk about it. I was on Discord. Discord kicked me out of my own Discord because there were too many people. There were too many people in the Discord that is mine. I own it. And I couldn't even be in there. So, like, there's a community of people who want to support the people that we watch on these shows. It's fun. It's exciting. We're now invested in your story because, well, you brought us into the story. So for him to be like, y'all need to leave it alone. Y'all need to let us move on with our lives. Okay, so go back to your the job that you were doing before you came to the show. That's what I think. I think if you really want people to be out your business, you don't want people to bring stuff up anymore, go back to what you was doing when we didn't know who you were. Because as long as you're going to keep talking about Love is Blind or eating off of the Love is Blind notoriety, you're going to need us for that. Just saying. Anyways, that was my thoughts on the reunion. I already know some of y'all are going to disagree with a lot of stuff because y'all were disagreeing in the Discord, which honestly I love. I love seeing the conversations go up to 2 a.m. in the morning. Y'all were on one last night. But yeah, no, it's been great. The season has been so interesting. As always, if there is tea, I'll see about bringing it to you guys. You know, you guys have to bring it to me for me to bring it to the rest of y'all because I don't really be searching for the tea like that. So if there's things y'all want me to talk about, let me know. Shoot me a DM or put it in the Discord, and I will come back and give everybody an update. But until then, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.